Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. Some village property may change hands, and 4 Addison Township firefighters get recognition for heroism.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Well, it's a done deal. Charities and event promoters can no longer hang signs from or upon the Polly Ann Trail Bridge in downtown Oxford. The recommendation to stop the practice came from the Planning Commission, stating that they did not believe advertising on the bridge is in keeping with the historical theme and character of the village. Another topic returned to the Planning Commission by the Oxford Village Council involves the use of LED signs. Currently, 2 downtown banks have LED message signs, and the Planning Commission announced concern without that regulation, LED signs could also be out of line with the historic presence of the village. The subject of the LED sign issue was tabled so planning commissioners could review the issue in greater detail.
It looks as though the village-owned property at 98 Gillespie Street is sold again. The Oxford Village Council approved a $305,000 offer from Oxford developer Clearview. There were 3 offers up for consideration. The first was a little over $200,000, and that turned the property into light industrial facility. Council disregarded the offer as an unsuitable use for the residential area. Another $305,000 offer for residential homes lost out to Clearview. The developer agreed to build fewer than 19 homes on the 2.5-acre parcel if necessary.
4 Addison Township firefighters were honored by the Oakland County Sheriff's Office for their actions in saving the life of a 44-year-old Addison Township woman. The woman was shot 3 times by her husband during a dispute and found on the front porch with the husband threatening officers from inside the home. While Oakland County Sheriff's deputies held the husband's attention so that Chief Morawski and his team were able to move the woman into an ambulance. Those receiving recognition for bravery were Addison Township Fire Chief Jerry Morawski, firefighters Sergeant Joe Fisher, Sergeant Chuck Johnson, and EMS Coordinator Rob Fitzpatrick.
Leonard Village President Mike McDonald received a welcomed and unexpected gift for the Village of Leonard for the Leonard Mill Project. A $2,000 grant was awarded by the Home Depot Foundation and handed over to the Village President from the Lake Orion store. McDonald said the village plans to spend about $1,000 on picnic tables and flowers and planters that will go outside the mill, and the remaining towards renovation of the mill. Congratulations, you guys.
The Oxford Village Planning Commission is seeking experienced residents to volunteer their time to serve on the board. Currently, there are 2 open positions to serve on the Planning Commission. It's an advantage to have building, construction experience, and some background knowledge concerning local codes and ordinances. Chairman John Duval believes those individuals who will eventually fill the 2 vacant seats must embrace the notion of what their participation in the planning process might do for the good of the overall community that they serve. If interested in volunteering, call 248-628-2543.
More mischief at the high school was discovered this week, only this time surveillance tapes pointed to a janitorial subcontractor of the district. Between May 13th and 14th, students who went on a trip left their belongings in a classroom, and when they returned, many of their possessions were missing, including a ring, cash, electronic equipment, school equipment, and clothing. After a witness told police a custodian was seen rifling through those backpacks in that room and then leaving with a duffel bag, police reviewed security tapes and it showed the suspected janitor leaving the building with the duffel bag. When contacted by the police, the janitor did admit she had taken a backpack but denied knowing anything about the other items that were missing. The custodian remains under investigation.
Well, it's starting to look like a seasonal issue. Beware. Officers were called to a local home to investigate a home break-in. The homeowner told police he heard noises such as feet moving on the driveway. When he turned on the porch light to investigate, he witnessed two male subjects running towards a white and silver auto. The car left at a high rate of speed, so the homeowner was unable to get a license plate number. Officers inspected the outside of the home for signs of attempted forced entry, but found no such evidence. The report remains open.
Well, that's it for Oxford News this week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, you just go to your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, watch us right here on Charter Channel 191 and AT&T Channel 99.
Coming up on OCTV, Oxford Sports with Jamie Hughes, and catch Oxford School News with John Ochins. And don't miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, look up! On Memorial Day 2016, the red planet will be getting up close and personal with Earth. It will be 46.8 million miles away, the closest since November of 2005. That's surprising because Earth's path between Mars and the Sun on May 22nd, but the planet's elliptical orbits meant that they were just a little bit further apart at that point. In our next story, it looks like our knowledge was a little flaky. It seems bacteria, rather than fungi, could determine whether you get dandruff. Since the 19th century, that is, the prevailing wisdom has been that a fungus called Malassezia is to blame for dandruff. But now we have bacteria in the crosshairs. Zhou Shu of Shanghai Jiangtong University in China and his team swabbed the scalps of 363 adults and used DNA sequencing to compare their fungi and bacteria. They found that about 90% of scalp fungus in all people, regardless of whether they had dandruff, was Malassezia restricta. But bacteria revealed a different story. People with dandruff had more Staphylococcus bacteria and much less Propionibacterium than those who didn't have dandruff, suggesting that the bacterial balance on your head may determine whether you sport snowy flakes in your coiffure. Shu says that his team will now investigate methods for balancing the proportions of scalp bacteria, which they hope may find a way to reduce dandruff. And in Florida, DNA testing has spotted 3 Nile crocodiles living in Florida swamps, and more may be there. They must have been released by unlicensed collectors, and the fear is that they may establish their own population and wreak havoc on Everglades wetlands, as happened with the Burmese python. Remember that one? Unlike local alligators, these crocs are known to attack humans, so watch out. Back on Mars, tsunamis larger than the one that caused the 2004 Indian Ocean disaster could have crashed into the ancient shores of Mars. Shores, that is. Although Mars is dry and dusty today, evidence suggests that it once hosted a large ocean, but we have never seen a clear shoreline. Now, Alberto Ferrin of the Center for Astrobiology in Madrid, Spain, and his colleagues suggest that the shorelines were remodeled by massive tsunamis that widely scattered ice and rock. The researchers used the thermal imaging from NASA's Mars Odyssey spacecraft to study the boundary between low-lying Persea Planeta and the highland Arabia Terra regions of Mars. They identified flows of ice and boulders running uphill for hundreds of kilometers, which couldn't have been created by gravity-driven processes. Simulations suggest an asteroid large enough to create a 30-kilometer crater could have done this. The resulting waves would have been around 50 meters high once they reached the shore. The waves that hit the Indonesian island of Sumatra following the 2004 earthquake were only about 30 meters high. Wow. In our next story, want to sleep better? Well, switch it off. Tablets, phones, and laptops generates lots of short wavelength blue light, which interferes with production of our sleep hormone melatonin. This is normally produced in the mid to late evening, but using screens for 2 hours before bed reduces melatonin concentrations by 22%. Screen time before bed can also mean it takes longer to fall asleep and seems to cut down on REM sleep. That could be because messing with melatonin delays the whole sleep cycle, leaving less time to get through all the stages before morning. But If your big vice is bedtime TV, relax. The light from the box is bright. We normally watch from far enough away to mitigate much of the problem. Dim red light before bed is best. So chuck the screens out of the bedroom or just limit usage to less than 2 hours. Any less doesn't seem to significantly reduce melatonin production. Or try using an app that strips out the sleep-robbing light. Screen time first thing in the morning, however, might help shake off grogginess by stimulating cortisol, which peaks 20 to 30 minutes after waking. So get to sleep. In our last story, Move Over Siri, the creators of Apple's Intelligent Assistant have unveiled their latest AI project. Dag Kitlaus, co-founder of Viv Labs, demonstrated the assistant in New York 2 weeks ago. Viv can follow complicated verbal instructions, such as sending money to a friend or telling you if the weather will be warmer tomorrow. It isn't tied to any operating system, so it could work for any type of smartphone, Kitlaus said. Viv should be available later this year. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcat School Update. Michigan Superintendent of Schools Brian Winston paid us a visit this week for good reasons. He explains.
The purpose of going to school districts is to learn, to see what's going on, is to have conversations about the assessment system, about the things we're doing at the state and how we can do them in a way that helps districts be successful. You know, the department has been kind of a compliance agency, and I'm trying to turn it into more of a customer service agency. How can we partner with the local district to help you be successful? And then we're going to be going through a process of a new assessment and accountability system with every Student Succeeds Act, and so learning about what's taking place in the classrooms is important. And like I said, becoming a top 10 state is our goal, and so part of that is deeper learning in the classroom, real life problem solving, writing, people taking things from a design to implementation, and you're seeing it here in Oxford, so it's been a great visit.
He's interested in preparing kids for future reality.
Real world, problem solving, being able to take a product and go through the design, build, and implementation of it, as we saw in several of the classrooms, it's exciting, and it's what we want to see in districts all over the state. So, I think literally Oxford is a shining example of where we want to head. And I think that if districts want to see our vision in becoming a top 10 state, they could come here and see it being implemented.
State Superintendent Brian Winston. Some of our 10th graders took a big first step in the IB Middle Year program a few days ago. It has to do with the personal project. This is the final major step of MYP. It has not been tried here until now. Our 10th graders were given the opportunity to volunteer for this initial run. There were 15 who followed through. It involved doing research in an area of interest and preparing a presentation for teachers and parents. Teacher Molly Darnell was impressed.
So I'm really satisfied with how things went the first time around for these kids. When I look around the room and I see the amazing projects that were done, the amazing thinking that went into this and the learning, and it was all done on their own. So they followed through with everything. They did something that was really interesting to them, and they are topics that I would have never thought about when we first started this project. So that makes me excited for kids.
Molly goes on to tell us what she thinks will happen next year.
So I don't think we can go from 15 or 16 to 300 plus. So I envision us, and we have had some talks with secondary administration and with high school teachers about how we might be able to integrate this a little bit more into our life here at the high school with a smaller, with not the full sophomore boat, but a larger population of kids.
That's teacher Molly Darnell. It was carnival time over at Oxford High this week. It was also the last day our seniors were in class. Students Mackenzie Bernard, Tyler Caldwell, and Joan Simlar were there, checking it out.
May 11th, Oxford High School started off the annual Spring Carnival with a bang. Students had gotten to spend some time with their friends while eating hot dogs and participating in many entertaining activities.
The 2016 Oxford High School Carnival. This is all about us coming together for camaraderie, and everything we do, when you think about school spirit, class camaraderie, it's all about the memories of us as human beings, because what else is school if you don't take these skills and do something with a better life, and you can't enjoy life, what the heck are we doing it for, right? So this is all about us celebrating all of our hard work and then building and solidifying a relationship as an Oxford High School family from here on out.
Leadership came up with the idea of the Spring Carnival to try to highlight some spring activities and spring sports that were going on, and it kind of just blossomed into this huge event where food service got involved with their cooking of hot dogs, and our kids got involved with all of the game ideas, and it just took off to a huge event last year and then even bigger this year. So hopefully everyone had a lot of fun.
One event that brought a big crowd was the wing eating contest. Teachers and students competed against each other to see who would come out on top. Thanks to the leadership class, Oxford had an amazing time and can't wait to do it again next year.
Good work, guys. That's the Oxford School News for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
Don't miss what's going on in your local government meetings. Watch Elgin Nichols and Dave Kenny on Minutes by Minute. Airs Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., 11:30 a.m., and 11:30 p.m., where they add a touch of humor to local politics.
Welcome to your weekly calendar of events, where we feature your weekly calendar of local Oxford and Addison community events, including charity special fundraisers and general community information. Now, if you or your organization would like help to get your message out to the public, contact us for detailed information at our studio phone number at 248-628-9658, or you can go to our website at occtv.org. If you need inexpensive alterations or repairs for clothing, be sure to remember the Sisters of Mount Tabor in Ortonville. They have many years of experience and can take care of your every sewing need. Call 248-627-4355. But remember, the good sisters spend a large portion of their time in prayer, so if you don't get a pickup on the phone, be sure to leave a message and someone will be back with you shortly. That number again is 248-627-4355. The Oxford Township Parks and Recreation is looking for volunteers to help with this year's Seymour Lakes celebration. The celebration is slated for July 8th, 9th, and 10th, but there's a lot of pre-work to be done. It takes the community's efforts and preparation to make a celebration a success. Quite simply, they need your talents to pull it off. If you would like to donate your time and talent to this great community event, just call 248-628-1720. Oakland County Health Services wishes to alert lakeside residents of the danger from E. coli bacteria as a result of Oxford residents providing feeding grounds for Canadian geese. By feeding the birds, you are sending a message: this is a great place to migrate and they will stay. You may feel that you are helping with their survival by feeding them. However, what you are actually doing is creating a health issue for yourself and your neighbors. These birds can produce a massive amount of waste which contaminates the soil surrounding beaches and eventually ends up in our lakes and streams. The health department says, simply put, don't do it. The Oxford Public Library has all kinds of activities and events going on each and every month. Events for adults and events for children. And many of those programs, they're free. To check it out, go to their website, miopl.org, and click on the calendar of events. There you will find a listing of all the fun and educational programs for the month. The Oxford Pregnancy Center, located in downtown Oxford, provides compassion and services for women facing unplanned pregnancies living in Oxford, Orion, and the surrounding areas. Remember, regardless of age, race, or income, the services are free and they're confidential. Friday, June 17th at 9 a.m. This is advance notice to all you golfers. Join in on all the fun at the Devil's Ridge Golf Course for the Dream Developers 17th Annual Golf Outing. This benefit is brought to you by the Oxford Township Parks and Recreation, the purpose of which is to provide proceeds for the Seymour celebration and community fireworks. If you want to register your playing group, or if you would just like to sponsor a hole or even donate gifts for door prizes, call 248-628-1720. And by the way, have a great time on the course, guys. On Tuesdays, June 21st and 28th, folks of all ages can join in on story time in Centennial Park. Bring your lunch, children, and blanket to the park and enjoy stories and songs with friends and neighbors. No registration is required and the programs are free. For more information, call Oxford Library at 248-628-3034. Friday, June 24th, Science Alive is brought to you by your local Oxford Library. Registration is required for this one. Kids will experience up-close interactions with unusual animals at the hands of Animal Science program. Your child will explore the animal kingdom, including climbing sloths, jumping kangaroos, flying birds, and, get this, swimming crocodiles. This is for kids only event and they must be able to attend without a parent. There are special time slots for your child's age group, so be sure to call the library for information and registration. That number is 248-628-3034. Saturday, June 25th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Treetop Lodge, 333 Jonathan Road, is hosting their very first ever Unicorn Festival. Connie Miller, manager of the lodge, feels adults should take a break from their stressful lives and enjoy a well-earned treat without the kids. Yes, you heard right. This is a kid-free zone party. With great, silly fun, entertainment, food, and refreshments, you are guaranteed a great time and won't soon forget the unicorns at Treetop Lodge. For more information and reservations, call 248-933-4579 and ask for Connie Miller. All proceeds will be going to the Oxford K-9 Rescue League. And remember, that's Saturday, June 25th, 8 to 8, and don't be late. Oxford Orient Fish, a nonprofit organization staffed with 100% volunteers, would like your help. If you are a compassionate person who would like to share a few days or a few hours a week helping others, the organization will appreciate your help. Of the many tasks available, they could use your skills in answering phones, scheduling clients for food, providing client reviews, filing documents, or providing a number of other useful services. Get that good feeling from helping others. Call 248-628-3933. Wednesday, July 20th at 6:30 p.m. at the Oxford Public Library, 530 Pontiac Street. Kids of all ages, if you enjoy music, don't miss this one. Presented is a diverse collection of instruments from all over the world that facilitates a fun and energizing experience that will leave everyone smiling. Everyone will join in on all the musical fun. To register for this July 20th Music Fun Day, call 248-628-3034. If you own a local business, organization, or a local resident wishing to show your support for our local Oxford school, sports, music concerts, or any of the many programs broadcast by our TV station, you could become a sponsor or an underwriter of OCTV. A promotional television spot can be created just for you and recognition given to you by our sports announcers during the special event. It's easy and it's inexpensive. For more information, contact our TV station manager, Bill Service, at 248-628-9658, or you can send a message of interest to Bill's email address, manager@occtv.org. Now, we at Oxford Community TV would like our television viewing public to learn more about your club or organization's special upcoming event or charity, so if you would like to get your special event mentioned on our television show, call us at 248-628-9658, or again, go to our website at occtv.org. One final reminder, you can locate our OCTV program schedule by going to our website, occtv.org, and clicking on Schedule. There you will find a list of OCTV broadcast programs, dates, and times. One program I recommend is Bill Service, who always has interesting local stories and interviews on our Community Access program. Just check it out. This is Oxford Community Television, OCTV. I'm your host, Elgin Nichols, and we invite you to join us again for the next segment of your weekly calendar of events.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, the Buick Verano will stay in production for an abbreviated 2017 model year before being phased out this fall. General Motors, in a statement May 26, said the Verano output at its Lake Orion plant in suburban Detroit would wind down in October. In our next story, the Dodge Challenger may be the fastest and most powerful American muscle car, but in crash tests, the sports coupe, which is in its 9th year, isn't keeping pace with its rivals, the Ford Mustang and Chevrolet Camaro. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, an insurance industry-funded organization that conducts independent crash tests and lobbies automakers for safer cars, crash tested the redesigned 2016 Camaro, Mustang, and the Challenger. None of the sporty cars, however, earned the organization's Top Safety Pick Award, although the Mustang, redesigned for 2015, came the closest. The Institute put each car through 5 tests: small front overlap, moderate front overlap, side impact, roof strength, head restraints, and seats, and awarded points for having a front crash prevention system. 4 ratings are possible: good, acceptable, marginal, and poor. The Institute says the small front overlap test is a similar situation to when a car runs off the road and strikes a tree or pole and clips another vehicle. In the test, 25% of the width of the vehicle hits a 5-foot-tall rigid barrier on the driver's side at 40 miles an hour. During the crash, the Challenger's front wheel was forced rearward into the occupant compartment, and the footwell intrusion entrapped the dummy's foot and deformed its ankle. Adrian Lund, IHS president, said in a statement, "Our technician had to unbolt the dummy's foot from its leg in order to free it. Entrapment is pretty rare. It only happened 5 times in a small overlap test." And in the same test, the Camaro earned a good rating, edging out the Mustang's acceptable, but the Camaro got dinged for not offering a forward collision warning system safety technology that is optional on the Mustang and the Challenger. Overall, the Mustang and Camaro each earned 4 good and 1 acceptable rating, while the Challenger scored 2 good, 2 acceptable, and 1 marginal rating for small overlap. No single test determines overall vehicle safety, Fiat Chrysler said in a statement May 24th. FCA vehicles meet or exceed all applicable government safety requirements. FCA US urges all motorists to follow all applicable traffic laws and maintain control of their vehicles accordingly. All 3 cars used in the crash test were equipped with V8 engines. The Institute added the small overlap test in 2012, 4 years after the Challenger went on sale. Can't wait for the redesign. And in China, General Motors' joint venture with SAIC Motor Corporation will recall about 2.1 million vehicles starting on August 15th because the engine crankcase valves may corrode, China's principal consumer protection watchdog said on May 26th. The recall applies to roughly 834,000 Buick Excel vehicles, 1.1 Chevrolet Cruzes, 159,000 Chevrolet Apicas, and 18,000 Chevrolet Aveos, according to the General Administration of Quality Supervision, Inspection, and Quarantine. A Shanghai-based spokesman for GM confirmed that the recall only affects China, but did not provide any other details. And at Toyota Motor Corporation is recalling almost 1.6 million additional U.S. vehicles for front passenger side Takata airbag inflators that could rupture. Toyota said the new recall includes some but not all Corolla, Matrix, Yaris, 4Runner, Sienna, Scion, XB, Lexus ES, GX, and IS vehicles built between 2006 and 2011. And still on the recall front, Ford Motor Company is recalling nearly 271,000 previous generation F-150s after a 3-month investigation by federal safety regulators into dozens of complaints about their brake failures and 9 crashes. Ford said the problem involves fluid leaking from the master brake cylinder into the brake booster, resulting in reduced braking ability. Some owners who complained said they could not stop even when pressing the brake pedal all the way to the floor. Dealers will replace the master cylinder and, if there's any sign of a leak, the booster, Ford said. Ford said it knows of 9 crashes potentially linked to the problem, but that none caused any injuries. One driver reported being injured while trying to brake, but without being involved in the crash, Ford said. The affected vehicles are equipped with a 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine. This is the first recall for the 2013 F-150 and the largest of 4 recalls for the 2014 version. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.